Craig Gaming here with probably the 9 billionth time I've tried to record this. This is a 3-player map with 2 AI enemies. Let me get these off here. Hold on. I've got the audio. I tried listening to audio and talking at the same time is just too much for me. Anyway, we've got Vintage Medic over here playing the Orks. Connor Bread from far beyond here playing the Eldar space elf knife ear things. And I am playing the Blood Angels here. This is actually an armory delete build that Connor Bread has been working on, and because I'm not super familiar with Space Marines in general, even though I like them, I decided to try the Blood Angels and do his build, although mine is slightly tweaked from his. We are still finalizing it and ironing it out, but this is his baby. But all three of us, we are not aligned, we are not allied, every man for himself. But the Tyranid players, the PVE players, are allied. And so this is kind of a Dawn of War 3, how it should have been, TM. So, funnily enough, this recording this was actually difficult too, the initial game, not just the playback. The first time it crashed, which we can attribute it to Dawn of War being Dawn of War. However, the second and third times it also crashed because I can only think that maybe it was because I changed the color scheme to the Lamentors. So I stopped doing that, and now this is the Atlantean Spear color scheme. But in the recording part, this has been a problem too. So I'm not sure if it's a color scheme thing or not. I thought it was just bad luck from the Lamentors, but apparently not. Anyway, how does my build work a little bit differently? One, early on I switched to Scout Builder Scout for my Outpost Secundus. And second, I finished the armory first. Get that finished before I build the Progenitor Barracks. Reason being, you can only delete the armory and get Tycho going after you delete it because of the power requirement. You have to get your power back from the armory. And so so he's delayed until then, and you can't really do anything until you get Tycho out and attached and embittered and all that sort of stuff. So I delay Tycho a little bit, just enough so that he and the tac squad come out at the same time. This allows me, because I've delayed him a little bit, to build 1, 2, 3, and 4 listening posts, which makes a really easy transition towards Tier 2 by just throwing down a couple of plasma generators and away we go. The economy from this will give me I think it's 300 or 350 requisition, and the gifts from these will put me over I think it's 125 total that we need. It might be 100, somewhere in that area. It works really well. I'm not sure upon whether we want to do Scout Builder, Scout, or what for optimal, but probably about 2 minutes 20 seconds you can have a team. You can have Tycho going out here embittered with a plasma pistol. This plasma pistol has some pretty insane armor penetration combined with embittered. Can make short work of a lot of things. So let's go check up on Vintage Medic. We've got a lot of boys. We got Sluggas. We got Storm Boys. So finishing getting our economy going. See what he can do. Connor Bread has 1, 2, 3, 4 of these guys built and is capturing a critical location. Tyranid's doing some initial work here. Funnily enough, I'm not sure if you saw, I decided to make my second scout team go here, pass up this relic, and go for this strategic point here. And it was like ships passing in the night. My scouts came this way, captured this point, and I moved them on towards this point over here. And the Tyranids came right up and went right for the relic. And so I was capturing here, they were capturing here, and we did not know we existed. It wasn't until I came and kind of moved back around that I saw them, and I decided to get Tycho into the mix. And it looks like he's already mostly wiped a squad. There were 1, 2, 3 Gaunt squads. He's not quite wiped the third Gaunt squad. As well as... Actually, that's a Brood Lord, so they have Gene Stealer 1 acclimatization. But there is a Gene Stealer squad here as well. It's actually fully reinforced. So that is quite a bit of investment that the Tyranids here are going to lose. They're going to lose probably, I think it's all of these units aside from the Broodlord. The Broodlord's tanky enough that he just kind of decides to leave. But all the Gene Stealers die. I end up losing an assault squad here. But they lose 3 Gaunt squads and a Gene Stealer squad, and I think he loses all of his bodyguards, and I lose just 1 assault squad. That is a pretty good trade-off. And as you can see, I've got the Sergeant going, which means I'm tier 2. With this build, you can either go for a Machine Bastion or what would be the Sacred Artifact. I don't remember what it's called, but it's basically the Sacred Artifact for your hero units. And so if you get the Sacred Artifact, you can get Mephiston out, which is a Librarian, and swap him on your Tac Squad and get a Devastator Squad to connect Tycho to, because his Embittered ability transfers to all of the squad to which he's attached. Now, this is a frequent thing that I do. I have a bad habit when I play Dawn of War. I get really aggressive. You need to be a little aggressive. You absolutely do to be able to win in Dawn of War. There are very few races where you can just turtle, like Necrons, for example. You can just turtle at least a little bit. But I get too aggressive. I have 1 Tac Squad and Tycho. Like 1 squad, 1 tier 1 squad, and 1 commander unit. And yes, this is very potent. He makes short work of these guys here. But I've decided to get a couple Meltas and see what I can do. And, the problem is I don't have a route of escape. If I had have gone this way, it would have been a little bit better because I have all this area to work with to kind of kite around these guys, kite around the Tyranids. But in the heat of the battle, I went this way, and there is nowhere to go this way except in this corner. So I ended up having to turn Embittered off. I was really trying to push. I had built a land speeder to try to press the issue, and see how these guys are kind of running in a line. As long as they have this short line that takes its time to get to me, I would have done okay if this land speeder had not gotten stuck. And it's not quite stuck yet. This is just where I rallied it. But shortly here, about this area, I want to say, it's going to get stuck, and I don't notice that it's stuck, so I'm waiting for it to save the day, and meanwhile Tycho's getting overrun with Tyranids all over. Again, should not have done this, or if I had kind of stayed in this area to attract some attention and then be able to escape if I decided to do, but this guy's stuck, and Tycho here is just taking obscene amounts of damage, which is unfortunate. We've got Vintage Medic over here doing a little engagement with Connorbred. Connorbred is sitting in... These guys are just blasting away, sitting in cover. These Warwalkers have some light armor, and that just did not go too well, unfortunately, for Vintage Medic. But, here goes Tycho. Let's get a little bit closer. He's getting just surrounded, overwhelmed. Tyranids everywhere. And that was that, unfortunately. I ended up getting the land speeder released with the jump ability. I finally did get it released, but it was just too late. So pretty much my entire army is wiped now except for this land speeder. I fully expected these Tyranids to just come right back and try to at least do some damage, and thankfully they don't. And the recovery was actually pretty decent. I get Tycho going again. I'm getting an Assault Intercessor squad, which these guys, after doing some research in Corsix, I think it was Mr. Blue Dude who was talking about it. They get plasma guns, not plasma pistols, plasma guns as an upgrade, which is... Well, basically they're like plasma pistols, but they fire twice as fast. So... very mobile unit, very fast unit. Definitely works at melee, but also you can do plasma guns and jet them around and do jump them around and do some amazing stuff. Good work with them. You can also go for an assault squad and then assault squad veterans, which also do pretty well. But the plasma gun upgrades can definitely come in handy. And after seeing these guys in action, I really like them. They're just as an assault squad, they do pretty dang well because their charge is really fast. and I like that. That's the biggest problem is with melee is dealing with range, and these guys charge so quickly that they can really close the distance really quick. I'm expecting a big attack here, so I went ahead and started building a heavy bolter turret just to try to recover, and it just never came. The Tyranids instead come out. They're still building more units, and we've got some engagement here with Counterbred. Again, content to sit here and eco and tech up. These guys are all in cover. We've got some reinforcements, a couple warp spiders. These warp spiders do some great work against range unit. You can see the Broodlord just went down. And, yeah, they can just sit here and blast away. If this guy keeps going, he's going to die before he gets... Yep, there he went. That was probably pretty scary for that warp spider right there. I got to tell you, like, when some of theirs... I've been playing a lot of Helldivers lately. And when those... I think they're called Brood Commanders... charge at you and you just open up on them, that's just what it's like. They charge at you and then you blast away and you hope they're dead before they get to you because they are really fast when they charge. Anyway, I immediately go on. I spend probably about 3 minutes thinking about defense. This is my idea of defense, is one turret, and I'm immediately going out again with the intercessors, Tycho again with the attack squad, and a land speeder. Probably at this point in the game, this is not advised, and I end up losing my intercessors here shortly. But I see Counterbred here is when I decided to start to attack, and I think the Tyranids start to come out too. And then I say, you know what? I'm going to back out of here and let the Tyranids work with Counterbred a little bit, as opposed to me, because once these intercessors go down pretty quickly, I decided it would probably be a better idea to leave this alone for now. The warp spiders, again, doing good work against infantry units. So they disengage because they don't want to fight me. They want to fight the spore chimneys, and I'm repositioning here. They get a pretty decent health regen, so that's another point in favor of the assault intercessors. I don't know if the assault squads get that much of a health regen, but these guys do. So this is when the warp spiders do their dirty work, taking care of the intercessors, which I was a little sad about. And but then they'll get distracted by the Tyranids here, and I decide to try to deal some damage, and again, the warp spiders just turn and blast me. So don't do that. Let's see what we've got. We've got a lot of boys over here sitting around. I know he gets knobs later. Is that a war boss? Big mech. Big mech. Too small to be the war boss. So I'm just kind of like... I'm kind of outgunned at this point, so I'm just going to do a little hit and run tactics. So I jump these guys over, and I'm jumping them over here. And I think at this point I get the melt-a-bombs. No, not yet. I decide to jump away from the turret and instead take out some builders, which is doing some damage, make him rebuild. Get some devastators. And this is kind of a little sneaky thing you can do, because I'm going to go towards... This is the default... Oops, that's not the default. This is kind of the default view. That's weird. This is the default angle for certain, not the default view. We all tend to zoom out as much as possible so we can see the battlefield. And so while it's a lot cooler to see the models up close when we're recording in real time, it makes it a lot harder to control everything because you can't see what you're doing when you're zoomed in. So this looks cooler, but is really hard to play with. So we tend to zoom out when we're playing. And what I end up doing... Where are my Devastators? Devastator squad. These are my Devastators here. So what I end up doing is, because I know this, we tend to do that, is I tuck my Devastators in right in this area so that when Counterbred is trying to watch what's going on, he can't see them. And so I give them, I think, missile launchers. And they can fire from this area, and all he can see is the missile launchers. And if I'm here attacking, this is going to drag the attention. He may not notice this, and they're going to do a lot of good work. If you just noticed, these guys were just standing there shooting. It's because I outthink myself when I'm playing. I put this default to blue stance. You can click in this area here and change the default from blue stance, from yellow to blue stance. And I did that because I wanted to remember to do that with my attack marines, but I left it that way, and so I keep building assault squads, and then when I deploy them, they're in blue stance, so that I deploy them, they stand here and fire as opposed to engaging in melee. And that's something that I need to work on, and I need to remember to fix that, because I would have performed a lot better in many of the engagements that we've been doing if I had fixed that. And I did notice that during the game at some point, but I don't think I ever fixed it. But this is a good example of how to use the ability to hover and jump. These guys, I think they only hover, but they were able to go over this terrain feature and can attack here. I have them, it should be crack grenade stance, or crack grenade. You can change them from frags to cracks. And what I probably should have done is moved him away and then had the turret change to aggro this Tempest, so this guy wouldn't get too low. But I had also attacked Counterbred here and trying to deal with killing units, killing platforms. And this, I didn't notice this was happening. But 2 Tempests is enough to take out 1 Listening Shrine that's tier 2. So keep that in mind. Counterbred really was at a disadvantage here because he was between the Orks, which is Vintage Medic, and me, and so he gets aggro from at least two different players, and can end up getting aggro from 2 different Tyranid players. There are those peek and see those Devastators doing some work. They're doing a good job there. They also, I think they provide a tiny bit of sight in. I think they give me this area so I can deep strike stuff. As long as he doesn't see them there, I'll be able to deep strike here. But obviously these guys are providing me some vision anyway. Maybe we can see what we can do with the Devastators only. And they're just sitting here firing away. Connor doesn't notice them. So yeah, this should be enough area to deep strike units. I'll turn that back off. Later on, he does finally realize that these guys are there, and so then I just tuck a infiltrated scout squad over here, and that serves the same purpose. Here I am. You've got a couple warp spiders here. These guys are engaged in melee. He's trying to kite them away, but these guys are doing a lot of work and damage on my units, and so I jump them away. Connor's really on his back foot here because I keep making him move his whole army back and forth. The Tyranids are moving in on Vintage Medic. They've also claimed this area over here. It seems like they're just kind of chilling. They're not doing a lot. Connor's got his whole army here, I think, trying to get eyes on me and the range on me. And he does end up taking out a unit or 2 here before I move away. But he still hasn't noticed these guys. Right here. Look at that. He's going to lose his Hemlock Wraith Fighter to, apparently, an Assault Veteran squad, which was probably a little frustrating to him. But I'm moving in, and we're doing some more work. Meanwhile, Vintage Medic here is having some trouble with Warriors, Zoanthropes, and like everyone coming in. This is tough. But the real MVP here for the Tyranids are these Biovores. They're sitting way off range, just blasting in, doing crazy damage to all of his units, making it really hard to put up any sort of good defense. We do have some knobs coming in, but if they can make it through the Rippers, they have Warriors and Zoanthropes to deal with. This is going to be tough. These have such range and such damage that they're going to take care of business, unfortunately. You can see here, actually, the Zoanthropes are in the front lines taking damage from these Wabanners, and the AI has decided in its infinite wisdom to capture a critical location with some warriors. Probably a better idea would have been to advance the warriors in to take aggro, keep the zone throbs behind a little bit, use catalyst on the warriors, and I mean, this is not a good use of zone throbs, but it is the AI, so it's doing its best. Meanwhile, Connorbred is still frustrated here. I think he finally did find them. That's why I'm retreating them. I think he started firing with this on there, and so I backed them out. But here I've got Assault Squad. Here's Tycho. I have Mephiston out, and I forget about him, unfortunately. There we got another Devastator squad. I could detach Tycho, attach him to the Devastators, and that would do some crazy damage with Embittered. But I think I forget. Connorbred probably doesn't notice this Warp Hunter getting blasted by all the Tyranids. But these Biovores are just being a consistent problem. Tyranids are trying to attack Connorbred's line here, and this is not going to go well for them. Probably the Screamer Killer is... no, he's going to go down too. This Carnifex is probably the only thing that's going to take any amount of time, and it's not going to be that much. Meanwhile, the Biovores are down here, and they are still able to reach here. That's just a testament to how powerful they are. Probably if they could have instead snuck a Lictor around in here somewhere, not close enough to be detected, but get eyesight, let the Biovores do their work. Connorbred then has to decide, do I back out so the Biovores can't hit me or try to engage them? And that would mean he would be on the move, and the Tyranids could sit back and respond to that, but instead the Tyranids have the Biovores doing it, but then they slowly advance like 1 or 2 units at a time in, and, I mean, that's a lot of dead Tyranids. These guys should go down here shortly, too. And... they get the Biovores? Yes, looks like we will. This guy might escape. Did they both escape? They both escaped. That would be a good point to take out those Biovores. The Gargoyles do good damage anti-air, but not enough to handle 1, 2, 3 vehicles, Rangers. I mean, that's a lot. Checking up on Vintage Medic, not faring so well. Trigon in the base, not ideal. Probably if they left him alone. I'm not sure. Sometimes the map doesn't update if I don't check on it again, so I'm not sure if these buildings actually exist for real or not. But, not optimal, unfortunately. The Screamer Killer will go down shortly. But again, the Biovores sitting in back. Doing a lot of work, a lot of damage. Their upgrade should be able to attack the Hemlock as well and do good anti-air. That is some good range though on the Warp Hunter. Be able to blast them when they see them. Warp Spider going down there. They're almost... they're losing some Warp Spiders. Meanwhile, I've come out here with, again, more infantry and land speeders. I want that extra mobility to take advantage of the different terrain features. This is another ill-advised engagement. I think I end up losing most of my army here again. But I am starting to build Predators, which are actually going to save my rear end later on. Although it probably could have done better if I hadn't done it this way, but we'll see how it turns out. Here's the Devastator Sergeant trying to focus fire, and they're going to jump away. These Tyranids are going to get caught, and he just got the Acclimatization 2, which is why that suddenly infiltrated there. There's a Lictor there. And he's going to go in and out of being able to see him as he goes near a detector or not. But we're going to get the Hive Tyrant down. But meanwhile, I didn't even see these Lictors right away. There's actually a second one right here. And there's one over here as well. You can see the outline there. So I kind of move away, and they'll take little pot shots, but they end up moving on. Don't really do a whole heck of a lot more damage. They're trying. He's still following. But I see all these Tyranids up near Counterbred, and I decide to let that happen. I'm going to let the Tyranids fight Counterbred, and instead, I'm going to come down and try to attack the Tyranids. Because all this point, I've been thinking, the Tyranids are going to be the real problem because they're allied. They can support each other. And they should be able to overwhelm us completely, the three of us, because we're also fighting against each other. So the Tyranids really should be doing a lot better. Does he go down? Does he die? He should be able to either burrow or jump. He's got his electrical static on. That might kill him right by itself. Is that it? Trigon going down. There he goes. Trigon's dead. There's that that infiltrated lictor doing some work. I'm surprised. He's pretty close to this listening post. But it must be just out of range of that detection. And again, Biovores. Look at that. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, how's he doing there? This guy's almost dead. They should just finish him off. But, yeah, there it goes. Having a rough time with it, Counterblade. He's only got... Looks like a Shroud Runner and a Warp Hunter. And some broken Warp Spiders. And enemy beyond the gates coming in. If those Tyranids had pushed in... Yeah, here we go. I'm drawing his attention, keeping him pinned between me and the Tyranids. You can see here they're still in blue stance. But distracting Counterbred enough that he has to engage on two fronts. I've at least hampered him so that I could take him out later. But with all the Tyranids coming in, I decide to let the Tyranids do the work. Here's these scouts I tucked in here so I could get vision over in this area. Something fun you can do to try to hide them. But enemy at the gates. Let the Tyranids alone. Let them do the work. And I'm gonna come this way. Which was actually not a bad idea, except that I probably should have even taken these guys out, or taken these guys out, as opposed to, again, getting stuck in here. And a number of... I lose too many units. Too many units doing this. I'm going to speed it up, keep things a little bit more interesting. But you can see they reposition some Zoanthropes, Carnifexes. There's the Hive Tyrant. And I'm just trying to take out stuff. These warriors are going to come in. And I try to reinforce it and do the whole deal and get rid of this player altogether by dropping in Terminators and stuff. For these Biovores. I see them, but I'm not certain. And I think once I see them, it's like, okay, Biovores, let's get rid of them. Yep, there we go. And they die pretty quickly. They're pretty fragile. But getting rid of them, good idea. They're going to rebuild their Warren. Although I don't think I see a Trigon again. These guys are stuck, but the Tyranids are finishing up all this stuff here. And it's somewhere in this point where the AI just decided to quit. I'm not sure precisely when it was. Looks like they're still doing stuff here. They're still moving around. They ended up, I think, coming up here trying to... No, they're trying to rescue. They tried to rescue themselves, and I think what happened was I lost the unit, and that changed the calculation as to where they should be aggressive. And so they went from defense to offense, and that's why they made that little dog leg to go right towards my base. This guy's going to come in handy in about 2 minutes, I want to say, because I fully expected to die here. I thought these Tyranids were just going to handle everything, and I would just be the last person eliminated, which, I mean, is still something, but instead, they come in here and start doing some work, and I've still forgotten about him. I just saw him, and I said, you know what? I'm going to take out these biovores that have been causing problems all during the game for everyone, all the time. And there we go. Biovores defeated. Got the Librarian Dreadnought here. And then I realized Mephiston over here. And between the Dreadnought, the Predator, and Mephiston, we actually take care of the majority of the Tyranids, which was really nice. So now I'm trying to recover again, fully expecting a huge number of Tyranids coming through, because they certainly have the resources for it. But it never comes, and so I decide, well, no guts, no glory, let's go for it. So here I've got Mephiston attached to these Devastators, which is not ideal, but it makes them a little bit tankier. Tycho Devastators with Embittered is definitely going to be better value. He can be attached to something else. But I come down, and we're going to do some damage here to the enemy. Don't believe this is the end. No, not quite the end. We've got some more space to go. But we're getting rid of units, getting rid of the Trigon War, and I don't want to see another Trigon ever, or a Hierophant. No thank you. Here I have a Primaris Assault Intercessor Squad. Again, plasma gun upgrade, highly recommended. Like a plasma pistol, but fires twice as fast. Insane pens. But at this point I'm just using them like melee units, and I think I end up losing them, unfortunately. But like these guys a lot. More bang right when you first get them. I think the assault veterans end up being better once you get your upgrades, your Terminator honors. There's a suppressor squad with autocannons. Me trying to find a good response to these Carnifex's demon armor, because I just don't know all my counters for everything yet. But the autocannons were helpful and do some good stuff, and these guys are very mobile, which is quite fun, honestly. Boom, 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 boom. Took care of a Hive Tyrant. Got these guys in so Devastators coming in, taking care of stuff. Doubling down. I think these are some Terminators. Yes, indeed. Terminator Squad. Ooh, that was cool. Not sure what that is. Anyway, later on I go for Ball Predators as opposed to regular Predators. And I think they come with autocannons, which is pretty good. The AI obviously has now kind of just, I don't know if it went AFK or what. But important thing to point out, when you destroy an enemy base, at least decap them. It's kind of silly to use your Terminators to recap, but at least decap these points, because if they have a building somewhere that you're not aware of, they can quickly, if they're not being harassed, they can quickly come back and become a problem again. Oop, I hear those autocannons going. Boom, boom, boom. There they are. I ended up recapping most of these points, except for this one I didn't. And that was just an oversight, and I ended up catching it later. But definitely, if it doesn't say they've been eliminated, decap their points, that makes it that much harder for them to come back, and is definitely worth doing. This is me just moving around and checking everything, clearing everything out as much as possible, so that we can claim victory. Again, I'm very, very surprised while I'm watching this, because there's just not a lot of resistance, and there really should be. I'm going to switch players here so you can see. This is Tyranid player 1 has almost 15,000 requisition. Tyranid player 2 has 21,000 requisition and 1,000 influence. And I'm spending requisition hand over fist trying to get as many units out as possible because I am fully expecting there to be a huge wave of Tyranids coming after me very shortly. So we're coming into the enemy base here. And I love the mobility. The Primaris suppressors and intercessors, they're a lot of fun. Taking down that capillary tower, that is important because it will slow down the enemy being able to use their special abilities, which some of the Tyranid special abilities can be a problem. So we're decapping some stuff here. I've decapped this one, finally. Building a second base. Just to check everything, and we're just going to keep going. This is the Ball Predator. Twin-linked assault cannon, sponsored heavy bolters. It looks like, honestly, it looks like there's a flamer there, too. It doesn't look like it says it, but it... Yeah, it says twin-linked assault cannon, heavy bolters, but that looks like a flamer to me. So, flamer's probably better, but whatever. For demon armor, I should say. But, nothing ensures personal space like more bullets. That's from Hellbinders. So, and we're just destroying buildings here. I'm just taking the advantage as I can. They actually accidentally pinned in old One Eye here with his crushing claws. I didn't see it at first until you'll see a couple of my guys rush in to try to attack a unit, and he's just gonna flick them away. Kind of funny. Just gonna flick him out over here in just a sec. There he goes. So eventually I realize what's happening, and I have these guys just sit here and fire in. Ooh, we got Dante. There he is. Getting some of his retinue. Honor guard. And then I ended up getting Death Company too. I like the Flying Death Company. Where are they? I think I dropped them in. There they are. Death Company. Let's follow them around a little bit. With Lamartis. They're beasts. I think he ends up getting them a crazy regen too. So, just searching around for things to break. We don't want the Tyranids to have nice things at all. So we're finding buildings, but at this point we've annihilated the enemy. I think it was set to honestly exterminate as opposed to annihilate. But there you have it. There's Mephiston. There's Death Company. They look really cool. Some Ball Predators. There's Dante. Is that Dante or is that... No, that's Lamartis. I'm sorry. Where's Dante? There's Dante. Right there. I like Lamartis better. He looks mean. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed. This has been something that's taken a lot longer than it really should have because of all the things that happened. Not sure what the issue is. Maybe I'll fix it later, but we'll see. God, that's cool. All right, bye.